I'm honored and very pleased to welcome Mr. VanderSloot to campus today. Mr. VanderSloot epitomizes the entrepreneurial spirit. Since the Melaleuca began in 1985, Mr. VanderSloot has directed its growth into an international company that generates more than $1 billion in annual revenue through a sales force reaching hundreds of thousands of households across North America and the entire globe. Under his leadership, Melaleuca has been ranked on Inc. magazine list of the nation's 500 fastest growing privately held firms. Melaleuca is a member of the Inc. 500 Hall of Fame and is the only firm to remain on the Inc. list for 5 consecutive years, while earning the publication of A profitability rating each year rating each of those years. He's also the United States Chamber of Commerce presented Melaleuca with the Blue Chip Enterprise Award, recognizing companies that had overcome great adversity on their way to success. Mr. VanderSloot has been named Idaho Business Leader of the Year, as well as the Entrepreneur of the Year by Ernst & Young, CNN, USA Today. In 2007, he was also inducted into the Hall of Fame, the Idaho Hall of Fame. Mr. VanderSloot serves on the United States Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, and he currently sits on the Chamber's Executive Committee. I am pleased to introduce our Wells Fargo speaker, Mr. Frank VanderSloot. Frank.
Oh, thank you. It's good to be here with you. I'd just kind of like to have a idea of who's here. And so let me ask, how many students in the business college here, in the business program? Okay. Okay. How many other students that aren't majoring in business are here today? A handful. Okay. How many members of faculty or are counselors with the university? Okay. How many just wandered in here because you heard there was a free lunch? Couple. Well, so here we are. 2016, on Earth together, going through life all at the same time on this planet. Circumstances have placed us here. I'm not sure it would be, for each one of us, it would be something different. But for whatever reason, we all get to come to Earth right now. This is an exciting time to be alive. Really exciting time. We know eternity is a long time. There have been billions of years before us, and actually billions of people have lived on this planet before us, and let's hope we don't destroy it, and that after we're gone, there'll be billions of people that come after us. Let's hope. But right now, this short period of time, this is our time to be on Earth. It's our time to be alive. It doesn't last long, it's pretty short. Based on the most recent statistics, life expectancy for us, for men, 78.4 years. For women, a little longer. Okay? Pretty cool. They live maybe 85 years. 84.6. Pretty easy to see who's hard on who here. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure. They're trying to figure out, and I think that they found some reasons why women outlive. But still, no matter. So that's like 80 years is what we get. 80 years. That's really short. That's all we got. The question is, what are we going to do with it? What are we going to do with our time on Earth? And what kind of a life are we going to have during these 80 years? A great life? Mediocre life? Sad, sorry life? What kind of life are we going to have? I choose a great life. And largely, not all of that's up to us, but most of it is up to us. Especially given the fact that we live in this country, a wonderful time to be alive in a wonderful country to live in. If we don't take it for granted, if we don't waste it, if we don't waste these 80 years and leave this earth with not having made a difference for ourselves or for someone else. So the question is, do you choose to have a great life? By the way, that's what, in my opinion, that's what every meeting is all about. That's what everything that we do when we walk out of here, that's what it's all about. We have, at our company, Melaleuca in Idaho Falls, we started 31 years ago, and we decided that we were going to try to keep ourselves focused on what we thought at the time was most important. And it had to do with having a great life. And so we established our mission statement, just to keep us focused. And this is what we came up with. To enhance the lives of those we touch by helping people reach our goals. That's our mission. That's what we try to do. And we set out to do that from the very first day, and honestly, we're not perfect at it, but we've become pretty good at it. And in the process of helping people reach their goals, the concept of saying, let's just go help people reach their goals, and that means our employees, let's help our employees reach their goals. Let's people who sell us products, the vendors who sell, let's help them. The customers, let's help them reach their goals. People in our community, let's anybody's life that we touch, let's help folks reach their goals. And in the process, we've learned a lot of things because we talk a lot about goals. We ask people about goals. We're now in 14 different countries besides the United States, and I've talked to literally now tens of thousands, might be into the hundreds of thousands of people, in large groups and small groups both, and many one-on-one, and we ask them about what are your goals. And it's interesting how doesn't matter what country you're in, people have similar goals. The people in China, I just came from there, was in a meeting with about 7,500 people. And those people have the same goals that you have. I haven't even met most of you, don't know most of you, but I know what some of your goals are, because they're all in common. The most common element that people have, regardless of the path they want to get there, they just want to be happy. I want to live a happy life. I want to be happy. And so today I thought I'd talk a little bit about what's the concept of being happy and how do we get there? Because it's pretty simple. Happiness comes from maybe not the place that everybody's seeking it, but some things that we need, I think, to focus on. 4 things I'm going to give you. Just 4 simple things. If you're on your way, you want to have a great life. In essence, what you're saying is, I want to have a happy life. I want to feel fulfilled. I want to feel like I accomplished something. Here's the 4 things. Number 1, good health. Take care of yourself. Try to live a healthy life. Friends and family. Someone who loves you. Having someone who loves you. To be loved is empowering. To give love, also empowering. For you and the receiver of that. And by love, I'm not talking about the kind of love that you see in the movies. That's called physical attraction. I'm not talking about that kind of love. So we raise cattle. And so in our cattle ranch, you figure you have bulls and you have cows, right? I'm not getting over your head, am I? And one bull for 25 cows. You turn those bulls loose, you turn them just loose, they get 3 months with the cows. It's pretty wild. That's not the kind of love, I mean, those bulls fall in love with those cows, all 25 of them like that. That's what keeps the species alive. That's what creates babies. That's not the kind of love I'm talking about. I'm talking about love where you really care about the welfare of that person, and that person cares about you and accepts you for who you are and loves you no matter what. No matter what you do, no matter what you say, no matter what mistakes you make. We need those kinds of relationships, but they don't happen by accident. We need to invest in them. They take time. They take commitment. They take sacrifice, those kinds of commitment, those types of relationships. But we won't have a great life unless we find that kind of love in our lives. That's what we found as we've talked to people all around the world about their goals of being happy and what they think brings happiness. And I believe that that's the case. Another thing that people agree on is to have a great life, you need resources. Resources. We're not really talking about wealth, but we're talking about something akin to wealth. I call it resources. The ability to go and do and experience. Not the ability to have stuff and accumulate stuff and get into the idea that the guy who dies with the most stuff wins. Not that stuff, because that doesn't bring any happiness. Having stuff doesn't bring happiness. But resources are necessary in our world to go and do and experience things. And experiencing things and building things, depending on what you do with those resources. If you just possess stuff, have stuff, and show off stuff, not going to make you happy. But if you build with things, if you have resources to build on, then that can add to your life. And then the last thing, maybe a little more difficult to talk about, and probably something that isn't talked about enough, but I think, and we found is really, really important in having a great life, is living within the bounds of what we ourselves as individuals believe to be right and wrong. And it's pretty interesting. Again, it doesn't matter what nation you're with, what the culture is. Those boundaries that people have in their mind about what's right and what's wrong, pretty similar. It doesn't matter about religion. It matters, but we were born with it. Things like honesty. We value that. Everyone, I'll guarantee everyone in this room values honesty. Now, whether we abide by that or not is something else. But that's where having a great life comes from. There's a guy by the name of Hiram Smith. You've heard of Franklin Covey? The company Franklin Covey. You've heard of Steve Covey. Well, a guy by the name of Hiram Smith had a company by the name of Franklin. And he merged his company with Steve Covey's business, and they now call it Franklin Covey. And Hiram Smith was a mentor of mine, and he taught some concepts that was really time management stuff. But they got into what makes people happy too, and they found, and we found the same thing, that every one of us has this set of values, what we believe to be right and wrong. And when we live within those bounds, then honestly we like ourselves. We're pretty happy with who we are. We can be poor. We can fail in this and fail in that. But the most important thing about having happiness is liking who we are. And we will like who we are only if we live within those boundaries of what we believe are right and wrong. We can rationalize and say, I'm going to do this because of whatever, but down deep inside we know whether that's right or wrong. So those four things, I'll review them with you one more time. Good health. Takes good health to have a great life. Great friends, invest in friends and family, relationships in other words, great relationships. Honest, true relationships, people who will love us no matter what, and we love them no matter what. And that's a concept you could go into for hours. We need resources. If we don't have resources, then we don't have real true freedom. And we need to live within the boundaries of what we have established or what we know to be right and wrong. You have those things, you're set for a great life. And so now I want to talk about what you can be doing, and then I'll get into some more business-related things, because that's all business is. Business is the process of helping people have a great life. If it's going to be a successful business, it's got to take part in that process. Now, we saw like 75, 80% of this room are students in the business college here. I just want to talk to you guys for a second. This is a great time for you to be alive. Everything's in front of you. I know you're indestructible. You've got so much going for you. And I envy you because there's so much going on now that you can take advantage of and make life wonderful for yourself if you make the right decisions. Now, this is the counsel I would give you. And know this, that the rest of your life will have a whole lot to do with what you're doing right now. If you want to have a great life, take what you're doing right now seriously. A great life isn't going to happen to you by accident. And many people have left this earth without ever having it, a great life. If you want to have a great life, take life seriously now. Apply yourself. And yes, be healthy. Watch what you eat. Exercise. If your health fails you, you're gonna miss out. Yes, be a good student. Study. We love employees, for example. We seek employees who are students of the business, people who get down deep and figure things out. It's all about figuring things out. And you can't get there without giving it some time to process with your mind. Certainly, if you can, get involved with a good internship. Get a good internship. It's important. Don't just get one because you're told to, or it may or may not be a requirement to have an internship here in the college. Okay, so not a good motivation. The fact that it's required, not a good motivation. Maybe that's what it takes sometimes, but get a good one. Pay attention to it. Get one that's going to add. If you can, get an internship where you'd like to work. That's what you could be doing today. It's not the end of the world if you don't, but it would be good. Be the best that you can be in what you do. Take it seriously. This is the only life we're ever going to have, guys. I'm pretty sure. I've talked to a lot of people. I haven't talked to anybody who said this is my second time through. This is it. This is all we got. And we can be great. And we can make a difference. And we can have joy on this earth if we do it right. But not if we approach it in a haphazard way. I don't think a good life happens to us. We've got to make it happen on purpose. Good lives come on purpose. And you're starting out right now where there's all these paths for you to go down. All of these many paths for you to go down. You can choose this one or this one or this one. I mean, it's multiple. And once you get started on that path, it's really hard to change it. You can. It's doable, but it's hard. You might as well get on the right path from the get-go. And so that every step you take takes you in the right destination of where you want to get to. I went through a process with a young man. It was actually a grandson recently. And he was really struggling with some stuff. He showed up at my office. Said, "Grandpa, I need to talk to you." And he was really in despair. And so I worked with him. I still had to do what I was doing that day, but I sat him down in a conference room. I said, "Okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to decide where you want to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 20 years from now. Write down what you want to be happening to you. Where do you want to be in those times?" Because he was trying to make a bunch of decisions. And then I said, "Okay," and he brought it back and said, "Here's where I want to be." And it was pretty good. He thought about it I gave him like 3 hours to do it. And it was pretty good. He was well thought out, a deep thinker. And then I said, "Well, okay, so of all these options in front of you, which one or which ones take you there?" And he narrowed it down to a couple of options. And then we said, "Okay, what's the pros?" And we did a scale. He did it. I didn't do anything. Pros and cons of this, pros and cons of that. And he did that himself. And then he came up with it. He said, "I'm going to do this." And it's interesting what hit him. He just broke out in a big glow, a big smile. And he says, "That means I'm going to have to stop this. I'm going to have to give up that. I'm going to have to stop this because I want this. And I'm not headed towards this. I'm headed towards something way over here. It's way off course. So I'm going to do this. And it was so interesting. I mean, I got chills going up and down my back right now just thinking about it, because I saw it happen to him when he decided, I'm going to go do this. It was a big decision, because it was a decision that was going to take some real sacrifice on his part. He had to give up some stuff that he loved. But I saw him make the decision, and he said, Grandpa, I feel so great. I can't believe I said that. I can't believe I decided that. I feel so great. It was wonderful. You're all there at those crossroads. You young folks, maybe some of us older folks too. We got crossroads. We got to make sure that we're on the right path. And if we do that path, then we can have a great life. And we will not have lived on this earth in vain. Tragedy to waste a life, especially yours. The last thing I would say, take a moment. Decide who you are. You're young. If you go through life and not decide who you are, then you won't have a template to live by. Decide who you are. Decide what you stand for. What's important to you? Put it out on paper. Now, subconsciously, you've all got in your way down deep inside of you what's right and what's wrong. You've got that. But now you have to decide, are you going to live within those bounds? Are you going to be honest with people? Or are you going to allow yourself the leeway just to tell some untruths from time to time? And then to who? Who would you tell untruths to? Who would you lie to? Your children? Your parents? Your friends? Your teachers? You lie to your spouse? Who would you lie to? Talk about destroying relationships. Dishonesty. Honesty and trust really important in relationships. You don't have it, there's not a relationship. Can't be one. If you're not truthful with those you have a relationship with. How about yourself? You gonna lie to yourself? You gonna allow yourself a little leeway there? Just be a little untruthful to yourself? Think about it deeply. And think through, who are you? Because it's a decision. It's a decision we make. We get to decide who we are. No one else decides that. No one can force us. And don't let, just because somebody else wants to lead you down a path, it may be a good path, it's not good unless you decide to go, because you want to go. That's who you want to be. That's who you are when you decide it. You can be whatever you want to be, but you have to make the decision. Don't let it happen to you. Don't go through life avoiding. We see that. Most people, I think probably the majority of us, never want to look, never want to spin ourselves around and shake ourselves by the shoulder and look ourselves in the eye and say, what are you doing? And why are you doing that? And when are you going to fix it? And who are you going to make it right with? So you can have those relationships. So you can have a great life. That's why you'd want to do that. Now, let me, because everything else I talk about is having a great life. I want to talk to you about our business model, and that's, I've got some time left to do that. But I'm going to have to take some questions and answers too, don't I? I have to do that too. So let me just go quickly into a little bit. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to help people reach goals. And we're trying to teach correct principles. Here's the niche that we fill. If you're going to be successful in business, you got to fill the niche. And the niche that we found was, people go out and get a job, and they work for somebody else, and somebody else makes all the decisions about their career. I was a vice president with a Fortune 500 company for many years, and then was a vice president for another Fortune 500 company. And I learned that as a vice president, I had to make decisions on other people's lives. You have an opening here, a management position, and then you say, I've got to fill this position, and you got to say, who shall I fill it with? And you've got a number of folks that want the job, and you've got to choose from all of them. And you know that when you give this person this management position, their income is going to go up, they can afford a bigger house, they can send their kids to a better school, they can afford a nicer car, maybe several nice cars, a boat, whatever. Their life is going to change. Because you decided then it wants to be the right decision. But the others who don't get that job don't get that opportunity. They got to wait. Maybe nothing will open up for them. In fact, they could go through their whole life waiting for something to open, and yet they're being bombarded by advertising. Hey, you would be happy if you had a bigger car. You'd be happier if you had this dinette set. You'd be happier if you had this nice big screen, flat screen TV. You'd be happier, bigger car, bigger house. You'd be happy if you had those things. And so they seek after those things. They use the credit card out, and they spend the credit card, and pretty soon now they're beholden to somebody else. Now they're really in trouble. Worse than that, the marketers tell our kids. They talk to our kids, and they tell our kids, you'll be okay if you have the designer jeans, and you won't be okay if you don't. And sometimes our kids buy into that stuff. And so we got to get them the designer jeans. And people get like, keeping up with the Joneses, they get up to here. And there's no way for them to get ahead because their boss didn't choose them to get the promotion. And they got, they're trying to struggle. They're struggling to try to make ends meet. And so there's a need to put people in control of their own lives. So we decided we would create something where we would give people a business opportunity where they can start a business. By the way, so the idea is start a business, right? That's the American dream, start a business. But it's expensive to start a business. You can't start a business normally without a few $100,000, even a franchise. A McDonald's hamburger stand will cost you several $100,000. A franchise to change somebody's oil, which isn't the most lucrative job in the world, costs a couple $100,000 for a franchise. And it's hard to start something without being part of some system. So we decided, let's design a system that won't be a franchise. In fact, it'll take no investment at all. It'll be in consumer products, and our model is that. We sell consumer products to households. I'll tell you about our niche in a second. It's natural products, natural, healthy, environmentally friendly products. We'll do all the legal stuff. We will do research and development. We'll do all the marketing material. We'll comply with all the regulations. We'll take on all the legal stuff. Here's the partnership we're going to have with independent contractors. We ask independent contractors to send us customers. That's all. We even take care of the transaction. Our independent contractors don't have to make a sale. They don't have to collect any money. They don't have to cash the check. They don't have to deliver any product. They don't have to collect sales tax. We do all of that for them. All we want is for them to be ambassadors for our products. And it's interesting now, we were way before our time. Now Procter & Gamble, in other words, it's word of mouth marketing. And we were way before our time. Now Procter & Gamble is trying, through social media, trying to get people to talk about products. They actually hire bloggers. We've got a daughter that gets hired by several different, she's a blogger. And they give her free stuff if she will blog about their product, and that's what they're trying to do. Well, we were doing this 30 years ago. Except we didn't have social media to do it. Now we do have social media. So now we're in 14 different countries. Sales last year, $1.3 billion. This year, we're going about 10% a year. It's just an explosion. In China, this month we will add over 130,000 customers in China alone this month. We did 120-some thousand last month. It's just an explosion. Word of mouth. And so what we do is you just say, you send us the customer. You have to do a product presentation, show them about our products, but then we do all the marketing material. We have learn to earn videos where they go on the internet and they learn about this product, that product. The concept has been really, really successful for us, and here's our niche. Our niche is quality. Here's what's happening in consumer goods. Walmart, I don't know what the recent numbers are because Walmart's changed a little bit, but just 2 years ago, Walmart, 60% of all consumer goods, 60% of all consumer goods sold through Walmart in the United States. 60%. Talk about a chokehold in the marketplace. I mean, Walmart is dictating to vendors. What are they dictating? By the way, is Walmart, is that quality based? Is that price based? It's price. So their deal is cheaper price, cheaper price. We won't carry your product unless you give us a cheaper price. And if you won't give us a cheaper price, we won't give you shelf space. So they have to go in. I've talked to people, many people. They have to make it shorter. They have to use cheaper ingredients. They have to use cheaper material in order to get it into Walmart because Walmart wants it cheap. which, by the way, when it comes to wellness products and health food products, holy smokes. No one wants to compromise on that. So it leaves a big open space for us. And so we're not the cheapest products in the world, but they're competitively priced. And we got documentation on one after another. We now have over 450 products, all natural based. Most of them, not all of them, but 95% of them made right here in Idaho, exporting to all over the world. And our niche is sound science behind our products. And by the way, I want to make this really clear. This is not a multi-level deal. There's nothing multi-level about this. I know all about multi-level, and the first mistake people think, oh, it's one of those deals. No, it's not. I don't even, my mic isn't even on, is it? Is my mic on? I did somebody tell me my mic isn't on. Is that better? You're on. With the mic or without the mic? Without. You okay with this? Oh, this is without the mic. You okay with me? Yeah. Oh, gee. I went out and took 5 minutes to put the mic on. So it's not multi-level marketing. It has nothing to do. So multi-level marketing, I know what those guys do. I'm also on the board of directors for the Direct Selling Association. A lot of MLMers there. And they sell inventories to people, and people buy the inventory, invest in the inventory, and then have to resell it to somebody else. And they end up many times losing their shorts. It has a bad reputation. It deserves every bit of that bad reputation. We don't do any of that. None of our people buy and resell anything. By the way, we have 119 Idaho State alumni who work for us today, so we're fans of Idaho State. And we look for the best and the brightest. And I had more I wanted to tell you about our business model, but I'm going to stop because we may have a couple of minutes for questions. Is that all right?
Sure.